right, so today, welcome to Charlene's Vision. Today I have Miss Shay Simmons here. She came all the way from LA just to be on this show. Thank you so much, Shay. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So first we're going to talk about, so Shay, just tell me about yourself and why you're a businesswoman. Just talk to me about yourself.
Oh man, well, currently my full-time job, I'm an elementary school teacher.
Oh, okay.
So I love the kids. And part-time outside of that, I have my own business. It's called Get Out the Red.
Get Out the Red. I like that.
Yes, yes.
It's nice.
It's really big about just educating people about their credit, budgeting, saving, and then also once you do those steps, you're able to start investing your money.
Right. So first of all, I want to know like how you get started in this. Like, okay, you just woke up one day and say, oh, I want people to get out the red. So I want to just go a little bit back. We're going to go a little bit backwards. Just tell me a little bit about your background. Like what actually led you to this point?
Well, I ended up moving to a new state to get a new job.
Okay.
And when I got there, I was there for 3 months and I was in an HR position, of course,
Nice.
And I ended up losing my job because,
okay.
Yeah, so that's how it all kind of started.
That's always a good transition because that's when you be like, okay, what should I do next?
And it gets really real, really quick. So I ended up losing my job, and I was actually dating someone at the time, and he was just telling me, I see you work so hard and day in and day out for this other company. He was like, I really think you need to do something for yourself.
Okay.
And I started thinking, I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, I know I have the passion, the drive to do something. I just know what to do.
What to do.
So it was a couple weeks later, one of my best friends, he hit me up and was like, hey, Shay, he's like, I need your help. I know you're good with money. Like, you ain't got no job right now, but you still paying your rent, you still doing everything else, everything's cool. So he was like, please help me with my finances. I'm like, okay. So long story short, I started helping him with budgeting, right? So I'm on Excel, making some stuff, and then I went deep. I mean, I went real deep off the deep end. And it started getting to almost an educational thing. So I'm making all these different spreadsheets and they go together. And then that's when I realized, finances. I'm good with my finances. You know, I went to the military, you don't make too much.
Oh, nice.
So I learned how to budget and save. And through that time, after I helped him with his budget, 6 months later, I was actually able to get my first home and I closed on it.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So between, you know, me losing my job and just being really good with my budgeting, savings, nothing else in my life was affected, right? So I ended up closing on my house with I had like a high 700 credit score at the time.
Oh, nice.
And I did it on my own. So I'm like, this is it. This is my passion.
So
this is my drive.
passion.
This makes sense to me.
Okay,
right?
so that's really good. So like to get started, like what actually happens and what do you need? Like what do you need to get started like doing this?
Step one. So with my clients, the first thing I tell them, you have to be mentally prepared to be ready and to be in a financial space. Yes. So that's the biggest thing. People come to me and say, hey, I need help.
Right.
Okay, so you have to be mentally prepared for it because when it comes to budgeting, saving, getting your credit fixed, you have to have money when you don't have a lot of money, right? So a lot of people spend money on little knickknacks here and there, you know, make downs, $1 or $2, things here, and it adds up.
Right. So
it's like you have to be mentally prepared to ready to go on this journey because if not, you're gonna lose money, and that's what I don't want you to do.
Right.
So I first tell them, be mentally prepared. You're just gonna have to go without a lot of things. Right? But it's a sacrifice you have to make for the bigger picture.
Okay.
So the first thing I tell them is getting your credit together, that's step one.
Getting your credit together.
After you do that, that's when you want to start looking at your budgeting. Okay, let's put a budget together. How much can you afford? When's your money coming in? When is it going out? How often is this happening?
Okay.
Right, so that's what you need to know. And then from there, you're able to figure out, okay, how much can I save? Because you need to know how much you have to pay out to live.
Right.
Then you're able to save. Once you get your savings down packed, then you can start investing. Because to me, investing is extra money that you're okay with losing, right? Because investing, you're gonna make money, lose money. But like I said, it's all about your mind and being prepared for those things financially.
Right.
So you have to take those steps in order to get to investing. You can't skip them. So being mentally prepared and then being financially prepared for the different steps you're gonna take with gaining and losing money at the same time.
Oh, that sounds really good. Now I know you're located in LA or LA, is it, right?
Yes.
So, like if somebody from another state or somebody from other places, how do you actually get in touch with people and stuff like that? Like, what is your connection and how do you make that happen?
Everything's done virtually.
Virtually, that sounds good. So
yes.
you get in contact with their people once a week, once a month, and after they got prepared, what is like the next step, I want to say? Like me, for instance, I'm like, I want to make sure I save money and also do budgeting as well. So how can I make that happen? Okay, so I'm mentally prepared. But you also got to have some income as well, correct?
Oh, definitely,
See,
yes.
that's the thing.
Some income, yes.
Right. So like, yeah, so you need some income coming in, and of course you look at how much money they bring it in, And then, so do you ask them like any specific questions that they need to have? Like, okay, I want a budget, but I want a budget for what? Like you saying that, you know, you bought a home, and which is good. So like, budgeting for what? Does that make sense?
Yes. So for me, I like to see where people are currently at, right? So it's, what are your goals? What are you trying to do? Because depending on your goals depends, okay, how are we going to build your credit if you don't have any?
Right.
If you have bad credit, how did you get there? And how can I teach you not to get back in that space? So that's the biggest thing. There's people out there who will teach you about your credit, like myself, and you have other people who just know how to fix it. Well, for me, education is key because I don't want you to come back because now you're going backwards.
What's the difference between fixing your credit and
teaching your credit?
Teaching your credit.
So I have some people who sell it, right? I can tell you, oh, this is what you need to do, sign up right here. But they're not educating people on reading a credit report and saying, this is why this happened. This is how you spending over here on your credit card affects, let's say, your student loans or your income and things of that nature. Because we see numbers, right? And they're pretty simple, you know, names and terms, but it's the comprehension of it. Do you understand what credit utilization is? Do you understand why over 30% isn't good on your credit cards?
30%? Okay.
It's like rule of thumb, you don't want to spend over 30%.
So what is 30%? Talk a little bit about what's the 30% and should you use credit cards and all of that as well?
Yes, credit cards are your best friend.
Oh, they are?
They are your best
friend. Oh, I'll
friend.
just get 100 credit cards.
So you don't want to just go buy and get a whole bunch of credit cards, but there's different credit cards for different things.
Okay.
But in order to have credit, the best way and the easiest way to build credit is through a credit card. I feel like a lot of people were just not educated properly on how to use a credit card.
Okay.
So that's why people go to college. You know, we think money's free. It's not free. And we start running up the credit card tab. I'm not going to owe it back. It's not going to do anything.
Yeah, I'm buying some stuff.
You know, because people don't know the ramifications of not paying it back. Well, that hits your credit score, which you need for future endeavors. But we're never taught those things.
Right. And I agree with that, too, because we want to teach that. But there's no place to even learn about this. They don't teach this in school. I know I never even learned about credit in school.
And I taught myself. The most my dad told me was, I have this credit card. I'm going to make you an authorized user. He's like, don't use any money you don't have because you don't have any money. It's my money. I want you to use it for emergencies.
Oh, that was nice.
So for me, it was a mental thing, right? I'm not spending your money because I can't pay you back. I don't have a job. Right? So from there, it was being mindful of that's my dad's money, not my money. So I just use that same mentality when I got my own credit card. I'm not spending money I don't have because I don't want to owe money back.
Right.
Because no money is free.
Right. Now you said there's different credit cards for different things. What do you recommend for credit?
So when you're first building your credit, you want to start with the secured credit card.
Secured credit card.
A secured credit card is basically like a prepaid credit card.
Oh, nice.
So you're putting your deposit down to the bank saying, hey, I'm going to pay back, let's say you do a $200 limit. Okay, I can afford $200. Right? But you're leveraging your own money.
Oh, nice.
Right? So once you show the bank you're responsible for paying your credit card on time, you're able to upgrade to an unsecured credit card, which most of those, you know, companies give out to us in the mail and say, oh, free money. No, let's start with your money first to see what you can budget.
Wouldn't that be secure credit card? Wouldn't that be a debit card?
So no, that's completely different. Your debit card, credit card, two different things.
If I'm putting money in, like I put my money in my bank, I'm really using my own money, so I wouldn't even put that under the credit card category. I'll put that under the debit card.
But it's utilized as a credit card, though, right? So you don't have to pay that money back as soon as you spend it. Like your debit card, it initially comes straight out of your account.
That's the difference.
Yeah. So now you're leveraging your money, but you're able to pay it back within 30 days. So now you're practicing at a lower level with your money how it's going to work once you get into an unsecured credit card where the bank is like, okay, I see for 6 months to a year, you can pay off your own money that you invested. So I feel comfortable giving you more money through my bank because I know you're responsible to pay it back based off your history, right? So it's just about building your credit in a positive way and showing lenders, I can pay you back. That's all that is.
That's all that is.
Can I pay you back on time? Right.
Talk about the different credit cards they have because I know I'm always seeing something like, go with this credit card, go with that credit card. I know credit cards like in competition with each other.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So what do you recommend with credit cards?
So there's different kind of credit cards. You know, like we have our unsecured credit cards, and then when you roll into your secured credit cards, you have those. So those are those two.
Right.
Well, with unsecured credit cards, those are the ones you get in the mail. So you have ones that come from banks. That's one type of credit card, but then you also have the credit cards from retailers.
Retailers, that's right.
Yeah,
so those are the different. So what do you think about the retailers' credit cards?
I think they're good to have if those are places you go to consistently, right? So let's say you like go to Walmart, Sam's, or whatever place you go to on the regular. If they have good benefits, I would get that card because it's a different type of credit card, but it works different from the banks.
What's the difference?
So as far as your utilization, the actual amount that you have on the card, it varies, right? So retailers, they'll have one set price. So you can't say, hey, can I get some more money on my credit card that I have with you all? It doesn't work like that. But with your bank, over time, if you show them I can pay my stuff on time, you can ask for credit limit increases. And that's how you're able to leverage more money through the bank, by just showing them you're responsible.
Oh, that sounds good. That's really that's really cool. Now, what do you recommend, like to say, hey, I want to pay you back sooner or later? How does that work? And why do people actually have credit card and then it goes down, their credits, they be like, hey, I have a credit card, but why my score is still going down? So talk about versus going down your credit score when you or going up. What's the difference on that?
So rolling back to our 30% rule, right? So 30%, when you're going to a lender or to a creditor and they're looking at your report, they don't see your balance of, oh, you have a $10,000 balance on this card. All they see are percentages. So if they look at your utilization, so if they see your utilization, and let's say a $300 balance on a credit card is the same thing as a $30,000,
Are you
right?
serious?
Because they're seeing percentages. So if you're using 10% off your 300, or you're using 10% off of 30,000, it's the same thing. All they're seeing is a percentage.
So you want us to use a certain percentage, you're saying? Like a 10% we should use, or should we max it out?
No, never max out your credit card, right? Even though you can do that and spend how much you have and pay it back, that is also tracked on your credit report, so they can see your highest limit on that credit card. How often are you doing that? Is it a one-time kind of thing, or is it like all the time kind of thing? Because anything over 30% says, I'm living off my credit cards. I need them. That's why your score drops, because your utilization goes up.
Oh, wow. I'm learning a lot today. Wow.
Yes.
Because that's what I always wondered, too, because I know people have a lot of credit cards and they use it. It's like, okay, it's just going up, but it maybe doesn't mean that, because they can determine if you're using it like a necessity, like I need this, versus, hey, I'm just using this maybe to build my credit.
And that's where a lot of people mess up, right? They get to these credit cards like, well, my limit's $10,000. I could spend $10,000. No, you have it to spend, but that doesn't mean go ahead and max it out, because they can see that. And that's not a good thing, right? That's like you going to a family member and you know they always spend all their money in the club or wherever else, but as soon as it comes to pay you back, I ain't got it. No, you have it. You're just choosing not to spend in the right places.
Okay.
No.
So, right, that makes a lot of sense. Now, what do you recommend to like other people out there that's trying to build their credit?
What I would suggest first is getting a secure credit card through your bank, right? So you can get it through your bank, or you can go to an online banking system. The reason why I say go through your bank is because you're able to see everything, right? Most of us, if we can see what's going on, we know how much we can spend. But if you see your amount of your bank account in one place, but your credit card and a balance in another, most likely you're gonna miss that payment because you're not seeing it. Or you're gonna get to the place of, I have it here, but I don't see how much I really have to spend. So you'll have a big old balance over here that you might forget about, and then you have your bank account over here, but you wanna have your checking, savings, credit card. You wanna see it in one spot, so you'll never forget about it, because we all look at our bank accounts quite often. I tell my clients, make sure you're looking at them every day, because people every day I look at my bank every day, because what happens about fraud? Just make it into your routine, right? That way you're not getting missed payments. You're seeing when your bills are coming out, because if you get a late payment on your credit card, that's one thing that can't be fixed.
It can't?
Without closing your account, and you don't want to close out a credit card, because that's you building your credit. That's longevity. You're losing a lot of things by doing that, right? So you don't want to late. We can fix a late payment on a car note, on a house, on a student loan, because we have to close those out eventually. You don't want to close out your credit cards, because that's you building your credit. You can build credit through student loans, through auto loans, through any other personal loans, mortgages. You can do that, but those close out eventually. You don't want to close out your credit cards, because that's how you're building. That's your key.
One thing I wanted to also discuss is that during COVID, I know they have all this stuff saying, oh, you don't have to pay this, you don't have to pay your mortgage. And I'm like, oh, I don't have to pay my mortgage? That's great. So I actually said, I'm not going to pay my mortgage this month, because I actually called my mortgage lender, and they's like, oh, due to, the COVID was going on, be giving you an extension, which means, of course, you'll pay, but you'll pay later. So do you recommend that?
I would not, right? Because what happens is it's going to almost turn into a balloon payment. You're still going to owe it, but now that balance is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And how many people are really trying to take out more money at their pocket at one time versus in installments? Not too many.
Right. And that's one thing they did not explain to me. And I'm like, so then I decided to look at my credit. I was like, how do I got a spot on my credit? And he's like, oh, because you didn't pay for this month. But it was not owed, as the bank, as they said. So why is it affecting my credit still? And I was really devastated when I seen that, because I like to keep my credit score as high as possible, and that actually hit my credit.
It's the fine line, and that's what they won't tell you, right? You don't have to. well, we don't have to do anything, right?
Right.
But you want to. Why just, if you have the money, why not pay for it?
Exactly,
You know?
and that's what I agree. Yeah, but I know there's some people that couldn't pay for it as well. Yeah, so that was great. Now, anything else you would like to discuss to have to say to your customer, to your client, to anyone?
No, just being very mindful. If you're going to get into fixing your credit or building credit, it's just doing your own due diligence as well.
Do your due
And then just
diligence.
being mentally prepared before you're financially prepared, because you
Right.
don't want to roll backwards and waste money trying to make money, right? So it's the
Makes
education.
sense. Right. So what about like any apps or anything you could recommend? Like I want to know about my credit because I know some people don't even know where to go to find out what's my credit score.
Yes. So I use Experian myself. I use Experian and I also use Credit Karma.
How much those cost? Can you talk about?
They are
it?
free 99. Listen, they are free 99. I use Experian just for the Experian credit score, and then I use Credit Karma for
Credit Karma.
Equifax.
So Credit Karma is good.
Yes, it is good.
I've seen some of those commercials.
So the scores vary, and people say, you know, whatever they're going to say, because they don't understand. They're calculated differently. So through Experian, you have your FICO score 9. That's how it's calculated. And then through Credit Karma and Experian with TransUnion, it's a Vantage score. So it's calculated differently, but they're all still good credit scores. So
Okay, that sounds pretty good.
Yes.
Now I hope a lot of people that's listening to the show, which I'm hoping you are, always want to educate you and making sure that you do have good credit. And we have Shay Simmons on, and she's one of the experts of good credit. So we would like that. And anything else that you would like to say? I know some people would like to maybe get in touch with you and stuff like that, just to maybe have questions. And I know we haven't covered everything. And anything else you would like to include about the credit?
no, I think we pretty much went over the basics. I mean, because
Right.
everyone's different. So that's the thing. Never compare yourself to somebody else and
That
look at
makes
their
sense.
scores and say, well, they did this. Well, they might have a different strategy. So you always have to think about yourself and your goals and do research in that way of, well, this is where I'm trying to go, right? So having your goals set up and then determining how do I want to build my credit if
How
I
do I
don't
wanna
have
build
any.
my credit if
Yes.
I-
So never look at someone else and say, I'm going to copy them, because they're probably doing something different.
Oh, okay, that
So-
makes sense. And to take this process, sometimes it might be longer than others as well, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Shay, just wanted to let, what the credit score you need to buy a house?
At minimum, you need a 580 credit score to buy a house. However, you want to make sure that you have the highest credit score possible, because that's going to make sure that you have the lowest interest rate possible, which in the long term, because that's what's important, is going to save you the most money.
So 580
580 is the minimum.
is the minimum.
But
Got
to
it.
be in the best spot, you want to shoot for a 740 or higher. That's going to put you in the best position of interest rate wise to save the most money.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
So that's why I say a minimum 5 years to build your credit.
Okay.
The higher your credit score, the lower your interest rate, the more money that you're saving and maximizing your dollars.
I
So
hear
that's
that.
what it's about. Patience. You have to have patience.
Patience, gotta have
Yes.
patience, guys. That's something I really have to adopt because I really do not have patience with anything. But yeah, so that's pretty good, and I like that. And I want to say thank you again. I do appreciate you coming on to the show. And you know, a lot of people out here, you know, some people have good credit and some people don't. So even if you do have good credit, like me, some things I actually still learned today because of you. Because I was like, I didn't even know about that other stuff that was
still
going on.
learning too. That's-
See, and that's the thing. It's still a learning experience. So I just want to say thank you for all of that as well.
Thank you.